Thanks for the invitation, Pastor Chris. Thanks for your ministry. I am a church newsletter geek. I read all of them. I know what you guys are up to, and it's good. And so thank you. I bring greetings from Bishop Ann Svenningson, the other staff, the other 140-some congregations in our Minneapolis area synod that stretches up from Bram and Cambridge down to New Prague and Young America and out to Buffalo and Monticello and to our vibrant Center City churches too. But I have a job to do this morning. I am a drive-by preacher to preach on stewardship. So here we go. Grace and peace be multiplied to you in the knowledge of God and of Jesus Christ our Lord. So good morning, church. It's the week of Thanksgiving. I would like to know who is hosting Thanksgiving dinner at your place. God bless you. All right, that's great. I hope the Democrats and Republicans get along at your table, all right? So outside of Thanksgiving dinner week, I've heard that social gatherings in homes in the U.S. are on a decline. Yeah, we don't invite people over as much as we used to. When I was a kid, my parents were awesome at that. We had people at our house all the time. My dad was known for inviting people over to our house for dinner, for dessert, for overnight, you name it. And many times he remembered to tell my mom. My dad was a spontaneous one, and mom, well, I guess she was forced to be the gracious, super flexible, creative one, and she knew how to stretch a meal, right, to feed a lot of people. Mary Helen, I'm home, and look who I brought home for dinner. And I see my mom going, yeah, great. Don't get me wrong, I love to entertain friends as well, and there's a huge side benefit to having company over. Before our 4 kids grew up and moved out of the house, having company was the best excuse ever to get my teenagers to help me clean the house. It was so good. They actually believed me that, yeah, we have company coming, you gotta clean up. But our youngest, the 4th of the 4 children, was so tired of that routine of cleaning up for company, and especially for cleaning up before a big sister or brother comes back from college. He said one day, okay, Mom and Dad, you know what? When I come home from college, you don't have to clean up for me. He was so tired of it. So let's say you were having your best friends over for dessert at your place. Wouldn't you welcome your best friends, your good friends at the door cheerfully? Wouldn't it be good to see them, right? Wouldn't you make sure there was plenty of dessert for everyone? Wouldn't you be generous with your time and your food and your hospitality? Since these people are your best friends, good friends of yours, you would not have a feeling, oh, geez, we gotta entertain these people again. I don't think you'd have that attitude. When it's your good friends, it's not about have to, it's about you get to entertain your friends. You might even tidy up the place a bit, run the vacuum, make sure the bathroom looks okay, It's about having a good time with your good friends over some delicious dessert. You might even decide to go the extra mile and bake a pumpkin pie. It's a special night. It's guests for dessert. It just wouldn't be the same if you put a couple of old Hostess Twinkies on a plate and served them, right? Now, if you make that pumpkin pie, other people you live with, they might really like your pumpkin pie too. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts, you will still not let them eat that pie until your guests arrive, right? It just wouldn't be right. Can you imagine bringing out a freshly baked piece of pie to your guests and there's a piece cut out of it? You wouldn't do that. When we offer something to our guests, we don't just cut the first piece out for us. The first piece is offered to others first. This is called first fruits giving. And it's nothing new. Deuteronomy 26, that's an old book in the Bible. The Israelites were taught first fruits giving. It says, when you have come into the land that the Lord your God has given you as an inheritance to possess, and you possess it and settle in it, you shall take some of the first of all the fruit of the ground which you harvest from the land that the Lord your God has given you, and you shall put it in a basket and go to the place that the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. When we give first. I have a favorite first fruits stewardship story for you this morning. Darwin Darwin was the grain elevator manager, in a small town. And he did not want to be treasurer of the church council. But he went to the annual meeting, and Darwin got pressured big time. I mean, he's quiet, he's smart, he knows numbers. It was just like the logical choice for this small church to pick Darwin as their treasurer. And finally he acquiesces. Okay, I will do it under 2 conditions. 1, I'm going to do it for 1 year, and 1 year only. And 2, you can't ask me any questions the whole year. They were like, you're going to do it? Great. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. We'll have you do it, okay? Well, it went pretty well. In fact, it went great. Never had this little church treasury been so full. People couldn't believe the checkbook balance when they met for church council. How can this be? Well, sorry, not supposed to ask Darwin. Darwin kept quiet. The next annual meeting, Darwin was done with his year treasurer. Never had the yearly offerings been so large. And finally, Darwin's year of silence ended. And he stands up and says, well, every time you folks brought in the gravity bins full of corn and soybeans, I tallied up the amount to give to you, and I took 10% off the top and gave it to the church, and 90% to you. That's my favorite. It's more of a tall tale, probably. It might not be factual, but isn't it wonderful if it's true? So listen up, good people of Maple Grove Lutheran Church. If you give off the top, if you haven't done electronic funds, you do that for almost everything else. You should do it for this church as well. It's great. It's just do it, then you can give the extra money when something fun comes along to give to, right? And every year, you work on that percentage. If you take how much you make and divide it by how much you give, that's a percentage of what you're giving, right? Try to increase that percentage from 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, just up a percentage. See if you can do that. And make your way to tithing, to 10%. So you don't need Darwin to do it for you, right? And then, I'll tell you what, this place will never be the same. If you put together the talent and passion for mission and ministry that you already have here, and then add money to it to make it happen, watch out. Now in our gospel lesson today, the Pharisees try to dupe Jesus with a question about taxes. They say, is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not? What would Jesus do with this? He saw it as a trap. If he says yes, he'd be seen as showing allegiance to the Roman emperor over God. Like the Roman emperor is more important than God. If he says no, well, he could get arrested for tax evasion and practically get killed for not worshiping the emperor. It's a no-win. So what would Jesus do? Jesus asks for some loose change, right? Some denarius. Because evidently, Jesus doesn't carry loose change. He needed to ask for it. Then, with a Roman coin in his hand, Jesus asks, whose head is this and whose title? Everyone knows the answer. It's the image of Caesar, the Roman emperor. Give, therefore, to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's. This Bible lesson on taxes is brought to you by Jesus Christ, the Son of God, and He approves this message. Oh wait, we're done with those now for a little while, aren't we? Okay, midterms are done. So the picture of the guy on the coin is the guy who wishes he was God. We worship the God who really is God. The Almighty, the All-Knowing, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful. Give to Caesar's what is Caesar's, okay, but how do we give to God the things that are God's? Well, truth be told, all that we give isn't really ours anyway. We don't own anything. It all belongs to God. We, my friends, are not owners. We are just renters here on earth. And God is the landlord. You know what we're to be caretakers, right? I just heard that. But we're not owners. You know what that means? If you get up dark early on Black Friday, and I know some of you will, and you make a mad dash to Best Buy to get an 81-inch 4K QLED Ultra HD TV, woohoo! I hate to break it to you, that fancy TV belongs to God. Did you get a new roof on your house this summer? That roof belongs to God. When you eat out this last week, whether it was fast food or slow food or somewhere in between, did you thank God? Well, you should have, because it's God's food. Now, we might think it's no fun being a renter. We don't like the idea that someone else is the owner, that we have to put up with a landlord. But listen up, church. Our owner, our landlord, is not an absentee landlord. Our owner, our God, our landlord chooses to be close to us. Our owner, creator, God chooses to be so close to us that our owner, creator, God put skin on and was born to a poor, single, teenage mom. And that baby, named Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, grew up to heal and to teach and to speak God's truth to power, to give lessons about taxes and coins and ownership, to get in trouble, to get in big trouble for following God instead of Caesar. And he was arrested, tortured, publicly executed, died, buried. But this God of ours, this owner, landlord, will not let the story end there. With our God of endless mercy and boundless love, Jesus does not stay dead. Jesus takes on all our worst traits and actions and kills them and forgives them and wipes the slate clean. We started out worship that way. We drown in those baptismal waters. We die so we can live. That's what we do. And that's all done out of love from our God, creator, owner. You've heard it said that stewardship is everything we do after we say, I believe. So whether we make a living or make a pie, it all belongs to God, to the owner, to the landlord. Remember that our God, owner, landlord, loves you like no other. And then give cheerfully, like when friends come over for dessert. Give generously, something special, not stale Twinkies, please. Give proportionately. Do the math, figure out what percentage you give of your income and try to increase that by a percentage point every year until you get up to that magic level of 10%. And I've never met a tither who's not happy. And then give first fruits. Off the top, the first piece of pie is not for you. Pastor Chris, after worship, do we have some treats? And I'm getting hungry. Okay, good. For that I say amen.